Hello, and welcome to Euphoria, and specifically to Three-City Revamp, a Vampire the Masquerade 5th edition actual play taking place in the tri-border region between the Netherlands, Belgium, and Germany. We're here for a second episode of this adventure, and well, our coterie is already finding themselves in a peculiar situation in a cute little village. But who is our coterie? Let's take a chance to introduce them, starting off with Jen.
Hello, my name is Jen Vaughn. My pronouns are she, they, and I have a light skin with black hair and a little black bandana on. My character is on vacation, wink, and I'll be playing Josette Pointu, a vampire who is very tired after several years of hunting Nazis, among other things, and is very happy ish to be here with the crew. So thank you.
Next up, Toto.
Hi, I am Toto. My pronouns are she, they, and my character is Chang, a Vietnamese um, woman, black hair, dark eyes, wearing mostly dark clothes that are more comfortable than anything else. And I am playing Tremere, and I'm looking forward to see what exactly we're going to get into.
Next up, Krifu.
Hi, I'm Krifu. Pronouns he, him. I am a white skinned dude wearing a very nice red sweater today. Although once at a party, someone called it Augenkrebs, which is eye cancer in German. Yeah, that guy and his boyfriend were having a bad night, so I'm going to give him some grace. I am playing Peter Kuhn, who is also quite a graceful creature. He is a Toreador, and yeah, we'll see if he turns out to be the new prince consort of the region after what happened last time.
And I am Markus, pronouns are he, him, the storyteller of this group. I'm a pale dude, and I'm wearing a dark jacket and turtleneck sweater today. Dark beard, dark hair, and dark glasses. Dark, since we are in the world of darkness after all. And my job here is to help this fine coterie to tell an exciting story, which we did properly kick off last time. We're going to continue this exciting story, but before we dive into that, just a few words before we go in here. Vampire the Masquerade is a game with adult themes and very serious and dark themes. It also takes place in a version of a world that is very familiar, but at the same time, darker, more dangerous, and filled with evil creatures of the night. This game includes topics such as violence, strong language, blood, psychological horror, body horror, manipulation, and ghosts. If at any point you need to step away from the game for your own safety, please feel free to do so and come back whenever you're feeling safe to come back at this table. We'll be here to tell the story together with you. Well, without further ado, then, let's go into our openings and then see what happens on this second episode of Three-City Revamp. Last time on Three-City Revamp, we met our coterie, consisting of Josette Pointu, Chang, Peter, and Grietje, who have met in the city of Aachen with a Nosferatu known as Holger, who seems to have information on the location of one of the missing princes in this region. Caspar Hoyers, the Prince of Maastricht. Apparently, he can be found in a cute little house in a cute little village in the Dutch countryside, in the city of Weilen. The coterie heads out there, finds the house, and things are stranger than they expected them. Not only are the neighbors nosy, not only is there a ghost hunting YouTube vlogger who wants to have some information, but apparently there seem to be actual ghosts that Chang and Josette do perceive. In the basement, however, there is also what they're looking for: the staked body of Caspar Hoyers and 2 drained human corpses. Peter makes the decision to offer some of his blood to the prince after unstaking him, even though Chang tries to interfere after receiving a warning from one of the ghosts on the property. Meanwhile, Josette and Grietje have an encounter with Hannes, one of the roving gangrel who just showed up and seems to be just as surprised to see the 2 of them here as they are surprised to see him here. Grietje succeeds in sending the gangrel away, though in her use of disciplines, her beast surfaces a little, and she's a bit more aggressive than she would like to. Hannes will certainly not forget this. The prince, meanwhile, wakening with blood fresh from Peter's undead body, surely will also not forget that he's now kind of in debt to this Toreador. We pick up moments after the end of our previous episode. Hannes has just left the house, slamming the door behind him, and he is gone, leaving Josette and Grietje on the ground floor. Grietje just slowly comes down from this outburst of anger, and she looks at Josette, and she immediately just tries to compose herself.
Josette shakes her head. Grietje, I know you. Don't worry. It's fine. It's fine. And she sort of points her head towards where the basement is. Now I know that my book told me not to go down, but I think that's where everything is. You can taste it, right, in the air.
There's not much that I can taste right now, except for a lot of questions, but you're right. Let's see what these other 2 are up to.
Indeed. We head over and quietly walk down because we're not sure what we're walking into.
And you come down to the basement, and you do see Chang on one side of the room and Peter on the other, on an old dirty mattress. Next to him, the freshly awakened Caspar Hoyers. And the 2 of you also immediately recognize that this is the Prince of Maastricht that you've been looking for.
My awe power is technically still active.
Mm-hmm.
So anyone who steps into this space is just, their attention is just drawn to me unless they try and resist it.
Yeah, Josette is like all eyes on Peter and is like, oh my. Oh no.
Peta is like kneeled down on the mattress next to the prince, and his arm is out. Wait, did we say the prince is finished, or is he still sucking?
Let's say he takes the final sip the moment Josette and Grietje enter.
And so Peta just like pulls the arm away, pulls like a handkerchief out of the interior of his. He took off his blazer, reaches down and pulls a handkerchief out and like sort of dabs at it and like licks it shut. My prince, is everything okay?
The prince, now having fed on some blood, there is some well, vitality is the wrong word in the case of a vampire, but there's some sense of um, health returning slowly to him. And with that health returning, his composure slowly returns. And he rises from the mattress. And now that he stands, you see that he's a pretty tall figure. He's like a meter 95 centimeters tall, and his suit is, as mentioned earlier, it's damaged, it's covered in dirt, there's blood on it, there's holes in it. It looks like he's been through a rough time in it and did not have a chance to put on something proper. But his entire body language, his posture and everything shows that he kind of assumes that no matter what he's wearing, he should be the center of attention. And that's currently not really the case because Peter is filling the room with his power of awe. And the prince realizes that. And he is going to try to push against that. How does it work if one tries to resist your awe, Peter?
So, basically, it's going to be my manipulation plus presence versus
Mhm.
their composure plus intelligence.
Composure plus intelligence. All right. You can roll for that, and I'm going to roll for the prince to see if that is going to work. You will have to put up against 4 successes.
Oof, I'm only rolling 4 dice.
Ooh. Still
I
3
have,
successes.
yeah, 3 successes. I'll leave it. I'll leave it. I'll leave it.
And it's not that big of a difference in the end. You don't feel as if the prince's presence is completely overpowering yours. It is a bit of a struggle for a moment, but eventually you notice that the prince is demanding attention in the room.
I'll
And
acquiesce, and as this like battle of egos sort of plays out, Peter like nods, lowers his head in sort of like a half bow, and then will rise up in like a fluid motion from where he's kneeling and sort of step and pick up his blazer with him and then step behind the prince to turn and face the rest of the room.
the
Immediately like drawing a line almost like, hey, I'm on this side now.
that is a good move. So that indeed gets kind of like a split dynamic in the room. While this is happening, Chang, you have been here in this room. You saw all of this happening. What's your response to that?
As Chang is observing this interaction between Peter and the prince, she tries to think about what is the smartest move there, knowing very well that the prince seemed to be or has been pretty weak and probably did not notice what she has seen. Or that is what she assumes from how the situation went on and how he only now seems to have regained really consciousness and started to regain his composure. She will try to play it off, play it cool, not really show what has transpired here or that she even tried to stop Peter from helping the prince. Rather tries to stay in the back, and kind of steps closer to Josette and to Grietje to see if the two of them are all right.
How is the ballet?
What?
The dance that we were just watching, you know.
Um, I you probably noticed. That is the prince. He was, before you came in, he was not doing too good, and Peter helped him out. Um, we'll talk about it later.
Mm, mm, got it. Okay. Okay.
Of course, I am the prince. You hear his voice booming in the basement. And he goes through his messy hair, sighs, and says, "What kind of kutzoi, what kind of shit show is this here? Why are you here, and why have you brought me here?"
Yeah.
You're my prince. And Josette does a small bow from the waist. This I'm sorry for the mess, but we were sort of sent to find you because you've been missing for a bit, and we are unsure about this situation in here and the
We
level
broke
of.
in,
Thank you.
but not with you. You were already here.
And you see that he's about to launch into some kind of response to that. But then at that point, he notices the corpses on the other side of the room. Cuthbert stops himself, his eyes darting around, going from left to right, as if he's thinking about something. And then he says, well, who then sent you to get me? Was it Isidora? You know that all of you would recognize that Isidora is the name of the deceased Prince of Aachen.
What?
Unfortunately, Prince Caspar, Prince Isidora is no more. Aachen was
What?
attacked, and many kindred were injured or slain. For it has been a few months since then, and you have been missing since then.
Isidora is gone. Great. So next thing you're going to tell me that also that idiot in Liège somehow lost his throne.
Josette sort of takes her mouth. Oh, well, actually, there's been a little bit of an upheaval there as well, with the anarchists. Je cherche pas le mot. I'm searching for the word, but
Well,
sorry,
search
it's
for your words
Your
before you
Eminence.
speak, whelp. He once again booms out, angered.
Mm-hmm. Josette looks like she's been slapped in the face just by the force of it.
If it wasn't Isidora, if it wasn't David, who sent you here?
Well, the ever wise and competent Holger, Harpy of Aachen. Without his urging, we would never have saved you from your staking, sire.
All right. Now who done? All right.
We have cars outside. It is best to get away from here.
This reeks of the countryside.
It is very small.
A quick question before we leave. Do you know the deceased ici, here? And Josette's pointing to the corpses.
He glances at them. No, and quite frankly, I don't care.
Fair. Your Eminence.
You have cars?
Yes.
You shall take me to Holger. I demand his attention, and he will welcome me in his whatever remains of his court.
Josette, do you want to? Your car is the biggest.
Oh, yes, and certainly not the finest, but we can, yes, of course, you can take
We did not expect to actually find you here, since it is the countryside.
You go on a mission and you prepare for failure?
No, we prepared to find a clue to a nicer place.
Whatever rights you have, we'll have to do for now. But I want to make sure that whatever car we take, I want to be with this one in the car. And he points at Peter.
Of course, sir.
Okay, Toto, you'll go with Gretchen as before, and
Yes.
all right, and I will chauffeur these two. Josette sort of claps. All right.
And yeah, Peter?
Nope. Peta slides on his blazer, tucks the handkerchief back in.
Yeah. As we go to the car, um, Chang would like see if there's a possibility to stay a bit back with Gretchen, as we are not the one um transporting the prince,
Mm-hmm.
and and see for Gisette and Peter to take off first.
Smart.
Smart.
And as they do, um, and we wait for them to be out of sight, Chang would like to go back and investigate the place in peace.
All right. All right. We have this shot where we see Chang just seeing this. It was a Kangoo, right? That Josette drives.
Yep.
This very practical but indeed not fancy car drive off, heading back towards Aachen, and Chang returns back into the house. Is there any specific place you want to be looking into?
Um, First off, I want to investigate the specific place that the prince laid,
Mm-hmm.
since I did not get close to that body or the place itself where the prince was, but looked at the corpses instead.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I would like to investigate, see if I can find any traces, anything that was left behind.
All right. Can you roll me for that an intelligence plus investigation roll, please?
Yes.
Wow, that is 3 successes in total. So, Chang, you go to the place where the prince was rested on the mattress. And at first, it just looks like someone found some old mattress somewhere off of a dump, threw it in here. But what sticks out to you is that the rest of this basement is so clean. There is someone was very thoroughly cleaning this place. You even, now that you're standing here and researching and taking the time to take things in, not distracted by the fact that you found the prints of one of the domains here, you also notice there is still this scent of cleaning materials. Like there's still a very sterile scent in the air. But there's also one thing you notice. With all the lights on, and with a little bit of careful investigation, in the ground or on the floor around the mattress, you see just the faintest hints that at some point something was painted or drawn on the floor. And someone put in a lot of effort to try to scrub it off. But you can still make out just the barest of outlines there.
This, I do not know if this works. um, but I do have Shape the Sanguine Sacrament. And it
Shape.
is technically there to shape blood. Um, 1 second, yeah. It is technically there to shape blood into one. Yeah, shape blood into an image. Is there a possibility that I can try to recreate the image that was tried to be scraped away, make it more visibly with blood?
If you're willing to use your own blood for it, meaning that you will have to make a rouse check, you could try doing that to get a better image of what it is you're seeing.
All right. How do I do that?
So, first of all, you're going to make the manipulation plus blood sorcery check. Because I recently learned that when it's about rousing, you first do the check and then you do the rousing. That's
Okay,
that's the correct order.
let's do it.
2 successes, but you can also follow that then up with a rouse check,
Yes.
which is right under your hunger.
Not my hunger. Yes.
You're safe. What does it look like,
Flourish.
Chang, when you draw the blood from yourself for this blood sorcery?
So Chang is a bit of a pragmatical person, so she keeps like a little pocket knife in her back pocket, puts it out, probably cuts it a bit up further the arm, where it can be easily hidden with a long shirt if needed be, and cuts about here and drops only as much as is needed, and then stops. Since, again, pragmatical, we do not waste.
And even if it's just a little bit of your own vitae, the blood that is inside a vampire, once it leaves your body, the powers of blood sorcery, some call it thaumaturgy, make it so that it starts spreading out way more than it should be by these few drops you gave. And the blood starts layering over these very vague outlines. You see that around the mattress, they form a circle. From that circle, there are lines going through the circle, but some of them also going beyond the circle, shaping other geometrical shapes. You see the vaguest outline of some hermetic shapes, some old magical symbolism. And you see in this sketch that you're making with your own blood the hints of a larger Tremere magical working. Someone was here before, drew some kind of sorcery warding circle or something else here, but also removed it afterwards with great efforts.
I pull out my smartphone that is way too high tech for me to use, but I still have it. Um, since for some reason, uh, having grown up in poverty, I really enjoy having now the access to better items, even though I don't know how to use them. So the best I can do is like take a picture and like you know how boomers sometimes use their phone with they're not very tech savvy, so it's just like the the index fingers like going click. I take a picture and I don't even send it. It's just more like I will show this to them later when I get
Right.
the chance. When I'm done with that, I also, just as a precaution, sketch the symbols out into my notebook
Mhm.
and then have the blood uh, disperse so it looks random.
The blood disperses over the basement, and with one of these spatters of blood, we transition into a completely different scene, namely in the car of Josette with 2 passengers aboard. I am not entirely familiar with the seat layout in a car.
Normally it's only two, but she
Mhm.
added two more in the back, and they are probably both sitting in the back. Let's be honest. So
Right. So we have Josette behind the steering wheel out here in the night. Fortunately, it's still not raining again, but the roads are still wet. The roads are also very quiet and empty. You're taking a little bit of a back road through one of the countrysides, your headlights illuminating on the left and right, just the hints of both cornfields, but also of a vineyard on the right. And in the back of your very useful car, we have Peter and Kasper sitting there. Kasper at this point has taken off his jacket, which was damaged enough for him to no longer wearing it. Underneath it, he has an equally damaged and stained shirt and a very loosely hanging tie from his neck. And he sits there as you're driving over these roads and then looks at Peter. Dilara is your sire, you said?
Yes, sir. My name is Peter Kuhn. I'm a child of Dilara, who was a member of Prince Isidora's entourage.
You should reintroduce me to Dilara. It has been too long since I caught up with her, but I had my businesses in Maastricht.
I would very much like to, but she was quite injured in the attack on Isidora's haven. She's in torpor.
He takes that in, and he's just making sure to not make eye contact with you at this point. He's just looking at another point in space right now as he's processing yet another revelation that some kindred that he once knew is either dead or in very dire straits.
Sir, if you would allow me, I could have my butler fetch a new outfit for you and meet us at Holger's.
I assume that whatever I'm wearing right now isn't even good enough to meet with that old bat.
Of course it is. I just want you to be comfortable.
Is that your main priority? To serve your elders?
Is it? I wish that there was stability in the region once more. And without a prince, it is hard to achieve that. But now that we have found you, I hope to be of assistance.
Peter, can you give me a charisma plus persuasion check, please?
Cool. I'm assuming presence is off. We're out of the scene, and there's
Yeah.
no need for it anymore.
Yeah.
Does being beautiful help me here?
I do think that, considering the circumstances, not just your natural looks, but also that he has drank your blood, I'd say you get an additional die to this roll.
Plus the one I get for being beautiful. Or is that the one you're talking about?
Oh, you actually get a die for being beautiful? Is that one of your...
In appropriate social checks.
Yeah, then you get that on top of your good looks. Oh, wow.
3 successes out of 5.
The prince smiles at you and says, "It has been a while since I've met someone who is so aware of their position in our hierarchy and so helpful. When I restore order, Peter Kuhn, I have to find a place for you."
Thank you, sir. My sire trained me well.
There's a cough from up front.
Yes, what was What was the name again?
Josette.
Just,
I am living in Liège on the hospitality of David Ledoux, who
I
unfortunately.
feel very sorry for you.
Which part, Liège or David?
A little bit of column A, a little bit of column B.
Thank you. I don't mind it. It's beautiful. It's got its own in its own way, you know.
How would they say it? Its own je ne sais quoi?
Oui, oui, absolument, absolutely. Um, I had a question. I have a question for you. For what David, how long had you known him?
Too long. He has always been a contentious choice as a prince for Liège. And I have always been of the opinion if it wasn't for Isidora's support, his own grip of that city would soon fall as well. Well, going by what you've been telling me so far, I was right once again.
Hindsight, sir. What made him so contentious? Was it because it does not seem like it was the town he wanted to rule? No.
Because he severely overestimated his own capabilities. He was loud and had opinions, and he confused that with having talent and influence. And Liège has always been a bit of a hard place to really put the Camarilla down, to really establish. Always been going through yet another social change over and over again. If it wasn't the mortals bringing change to it, it was some other kindred coming in there and speaking of how our ways are the wrong ways and we should try something different. I'm of course speaking of the anarchs, and we should have gotten rid of those long, long ago. But David did not. He had too much heart for it. And that's a
Too
problem
much.
in our profession.
It's an interesting way to put it. Well, it sounds like we will need some help to get rid of the anarchs then in Liège, no? You can't do it all on your own, I imagine.
And what makes you think that? Just because I had some misfortune of ending up in a basement in a Dutch village against my will?
Exactly that, sir.
A minor setback.
Well, you can let me know because I come from a small group of various means who stop at nothing to finish their goals, to accomplish their goals.
That sounds useful. I like people that are useful. And Josette, as you talk with them, I'm assuming that you're like doing the conversation through the rear view mirror. That you're like you're doing like you're glancing through the rear view mirror.
She's not a turn around and talk while driving.
Exactly. Yeah.
Eyes on them.
Drive safely, people.
You would see a glow on Peter's face as he's on his phone. He's texting his butler, Michel, to bring like an oversized outfit because I get the vibe the prince is quite a bit taller than Peter.
Yeah.
Like sweats that look like slacks, like nice and big, and then like an extra, like an oversized blazer that he had left over from the 80s. And then on top of that, he's also going to text Holger, which of course, like Holger, he's wise enough to know that like Camarilla looks down on technology and texting, and so like Holger doesn't even have the name Holger in there. It's whatever mask he might be operating under, or could just be podcast. I don't know.
You were absolutely right that Holger does prefer not to use technology for that. even though he for some reason does run his own podcast. Um, but you know that Holger has a series of burner phones that
Yep.
he goes through, and I would absolutely say that Peter would have not Holger in there, but like 6 different names, which basically are all Holger, but they connect
Podcast guy
to
1, podcast
uh,
guy 2.
Or
which
like
connect to
maybe I'm DMing on his podcast socials.
in code, like basically like in
Hmm.
kind of talking about the podcast, but it's actually code for something.
Yeah, like your crowning episode seems like it's really coming home to roost.
I love it. That's a good one. Yeah. And once you post that on the comments, you first get some responses from some of the other listeners. There's like a lots of thumbs up on there and some response like, yeah, it was really good that last one. There's someone commenting on the like, no, it has been shit since episode 22. But there's also then you see that thumbs up from Holger coming there and knowing that the message has been received. And as you're done texting these instructions, you also see at the top of your phone a notification appears that Emmanuel is calling.
I silence my phone and quickly slide it back into my pocket.
All right. So, it sounds like a part of the coterie is going to first make sure that the prince gets dressed and then head back to Holger's. Chang, you would be, once you're done with your investigations, would go back with Grietje by car?
Yes. Depending on how long my investigation took, I know that Josette's car is slower, older.
Mm.
And I know that Grietje has no problem driving fast. So if the investigation didn't take too long, I make Grietje drive so fast. Because we are very close to Germany and there
Yeah.
is no limit on the Autobahn. So we put some pressure on that pedal and try to catch up at least so much that it seems reasonable that we are just a tad bit later at the scene.
Right. Right. I think that would be possible as it would be possible for Grietje and Chang to show up maybe like 2 minutes after the rest of the group. And we open this scene basically with Chang and Grietje ringing the doorbell of Holger's apartment in the heart of Aachen. Not too far again from this fountain statue of the Backhauf. And the apartment was already full when it was the 4 of you visiting Holger, but now you also have an almost 2 meter tall Dutchman in slack pants and an old from the 80s oversized suit jacket on. I'm thinking some modern talking vibes here for the suit jacket. The party comes back and we cut to the scene when Chang and Grietje enter Holger's apartment, now filled with even more people and a slacks and oversized suit jacket wearing Prince Caspar Hoyers. Holger is still in his hoodie that covers most of his face. He pulled out some extra chairs he had somewhere in a closet, and he looks at all of you and then at the prince and goes, "Well, Prince Caspar, I'm glad that my sources were correct and that my companions here were able to pull you out from that place."
I mean, actually, in a record time, no, Holger? It's like 3 hours? Was it?
Well, it was indeed very fast, but I have highest expectations of all of you, and I knew you would be able to deliver.
Peter, you okay?
I don't know if Peta's feeling that way. Krifu's like, how the fuck did he know where to go?
Yeah.
Mhm.
Exactly. No,
No,
bring
Chang
it up.
feels that way.
Bring
Chang
it
feels a lot of ways right now.
Um, Yes, Holga, it was quite convenient that you knew exactly where we would find the prince in his vulnerable state.
Well, it is what I do. Under Isadora, I have also gathered information. I have spread information where necessary, and I have my sources. You can rely on this old bat to get the correct facts.
Holga, uh, I'm sorry. We're beating around the bush, and perhaps you don't see it. Are you sure you did not put the prince there yourself?
You see the prince at that point turning towards Holga and waiting anxiously for a response. Holga stammers a little and he stammers a little bit in German, like, nah, nein, no. And he says, I can guarantee you it was not me, but I think the prince himself would know best who put him there. What do you remember from how you got there, Your Highness? I don't have to tell any of you the exact details of this, but all I recall is that I was visiting on my way to visit an old companion, and my car was stopped on the highway. And after that, things get a little bit blurry.
Kaspar, and Peter's so like testing out first name basis. Puts a hand on the prince's like arm. I fear your court, your retinue has abandoned you, or worse, even betrayed you. It would not be safe for you to return home this evening, or perhaps anytime soon.
I think that my domain needs me more than it ever did. And I do think that my own coterie did betray me. And if I find any of them, I shall do what the traditions require of me.
Quick question: what clan was Prince? Was the prince again?
Ventru.
True. Okay.
Do we know anything
Great
about
choice.
his coterie?
Not exactly. You do know that he did have among his coterie at least two childs of his own, who he kept, whose identities he kept pretty private. Which also it was also harder to get any information on his coterie because he kept such a tight lockdown on which kindred had access to Maastricht as a domain or hunting ground. You do know, however, that there is one kindred that is associated with Caspar, and especially Chang might have heard of her before, and because it is one of the few other Tremere in the region, and that is Yassira el Kaduri, which is, as far as you know, the only remaining Tremere in Maastricht, and also being the only remaining Tremere, the, well, ruling regent of the Chantry in Maastricht, which is not saying a lot if it's just one Tremere. But what you do know about her is that she never really engaged with kindred politics. She is a real classic researcher and
I respect that.
has been, just like the prince has been keeping a tight lockdown on Maastricht, she has been really picky with who was allowed entrance to the Chantry in Maastricht.
Mm. Ha- do I have a way of contacting her? Do I know how to contact her?
You would, and even though the pyramid doesn't exist anymore for the Tremere, what you know about Yassira is that she would probably, you would have higher chances getting her ear as a fellow Tremere than any other kindred here. And the best way to contact her is actually to go and visit the chantry. You know its location. It is in Maastricht, and you would have to go there.
Chang thinks to herself how bothersome it is that she has to go outside a second time this week instead of just going to the library or staying at home and getting into the books and reading up on honestly the theology of the place they've just been, because there was a church, and for a small place like that, having a church means they have history. And Chang sighs a little, just kind of gives Gritje a bit of a look as the two of them just kind of stay out of the conversation, sitting a bit back. Gritje probably trying to figure out how to not touch anything in this in this place uh, at all. And yeah, Chang kind of like tries to not get into the conversation, just
Mm.
sometimes glances over to Peter and Josette is like making movements with her eyes like, can we speed this up? Can we get him out?
Josette is like, Chong is like the active listening that Chong is doing is like, Josette's like, picking up on not all of it, unfortunately, but
Yeah, that's fair.
Um, continuing the conversation, Prince, your domain may not be secure anymore. If your coterie has betrayed you, then they will soon learn that you are not where you are supposed to be, where they expect you to be. We need to plan what to do next and how to secure your region.
And he looks at you, Peter, and goes, if you can provide me with a room for the day, that is better than whatever this is. I could at least get some rest there and plan onwards. I would respect the hospitality of Domain Aachen, of course, though, from what I heard, it currently doesn't have a prince that I could bow to.
Sadly, what you see here is what is left of Domain Aachen.
Sadly, a correct word of choice of words.
But in my haven, you will be safe and protected.
You shall take me there. Holger, your involvement will not be forgotten. And the prince gets up and just heavily implies that Peter should go as well.
Okay. Peter, he never sat down, nods to the rest of the coterie. And as they're walking out, he turns around and he's like,
Chang does kind of a bow as the prince walks past her. It's like, and waits for them to leave.
The prince and Peter both leave, the door closing behind them. You hear footsteps going downstairs from the apartment. And once those footsteps fade away, you see Holger immediately turns to Josette Chang and Grietje and says, why is the verfickte, the fucking prince, still alive?
Holger!
Can't you read between the lines? When I tell you where to find the prince, where he might be in a very, very vulnerable state, the one thing you do is not bring him back alive. And then that toreador from Cologne, that he put a modern talking jacket on the prince.
He looks good.
Holger, I have received orders to take care of murder assassinate thousands, and just saying someone's in a vulnerable state. That's the way you phrase that. That's about compassion. So I'm not quite
We
sure
had
why
an
you are angry.
absolute opportunity here.
This is my
Is-
third language. Next time, just say.
Use your hands, Holgar. You know, like
Yeah. Even where I come from, this means this.
And he sits down in his like the only expensive piece of furniture here, which is his gamer chair. He just slumps down in it and he goes, okay. We can
How
still salvage this. We can
wa-
salvage this.
how were you involved? Was hast du gemacht? What did you do?
Scheiße. Fuck. I have an informant. One of the fuck, if whatever I fucking say in this room, it's not gonna leave this room.
Well, if
Yeah,
you
of
have
course.
not noticed, we are also kind of fucked.
I have a guy, well, a gal, among the hunters in Liège.
You do what?
Look! That he doesn't know what I am.
Mm.
I have a contact there, and they were onto something. They knew something was happening. Someone interfered with Caspar leaving Maastricht. They knew someone was taking him, and they were trying to track him. Last known position they had was there in Weilen, in that village.
Is that contact still alive?
Of course, I don't kill my contacts.
No, you don't, but they might have gone. Do you know who they sent? I might talk. No, well, not talk. Well, a little bit of talk to a ghost.
What the fuck? A ghost?
Yeah, the place is full of
Exactly,
ghosts.
exactement.
No, Josette, not now. I do not know what happened exactly, but in there were corpses, probably drunk dry by the prince, left specters. Great for me personally as an experience, bad for the situation in general.
Okay. So something weird was happening there anyway. And that weird stuff, that's what pulls in the hunters. That's what pulls in the people who burned Isidora here.
Yes, also teenagers with cameras.
There was someone with a fucking camera there?
Don't worry, we took care of that.
Yes.
And also
at least you know how to delete a video. Good.
Wait, yes. Yeah.
Well, the prince was not on the video.
No.
Okay.
But we were also warned not to go in the basement also by my bibliomancy where he was. So I'm not sure who is sending that message, but
Okay. We have Caspar still around, who is schmoozing up to Peter.
Yes, if
And
you want to know why,
I think it's the other way
they have a
around.
thing now. A link.
The blood bond.
Mm.
wait, can you say that again?
They have a thing.
They clearly have a thing. What kind of thing?
The blood bond.
Yes.
Peter fed him.
Mm.
Peter the snack.
Oh, that cunning little bastard.
The ghost told me not to, but I was too late.
Oh, this is. Why didn't you open up with this? Why didn't you start with this? I get my heart rate all up if I had a heart
Yes,
rate.
obviously. Do you know how I was sitting there about to explode from the inside? Do you know how little? I usually go out like once a week to go do my shopping. This is already too much for me.
Okay, so Peter has an inn. Peter has a link. Oh, I always liked that Toreador from Cologne. Oh, what?
You just said. Oh, no.
Okay, this is good. You wait. When
You're
Peter gets back in
welcome are
touch-
the words I think you're searching for.
We're not finished yet. We're not across the finish line yet. This isn't over yet. But you keep close to Peter, and you see whatever he's planning with the prince. I, in the meantime, will see if my informant can give me whatever updates, if in case anyone else went to that house where you went, in case anyone else talked with you.
Did
Um,
you also did any other kindred know about this?
I don't know. No other kindreds have sources like me.
Uh,
Do your sources have connection to other kindred?
Maybe. Cannot guarantee it.
at that, Josette steps up to Holgar's gaming chair and does like a very rather intimidating lean on the head of it, so he kind of gets pushed back. She's not touching him, but just
Mm-hmm.
touching the chair, and she goes, "So, do your informants know where David is of Liège?"
Perhaps.
Do
She
you
pushes
want
it back another centimeter.
You're kind of really leaning on your physical presence here, right? You really want to
Yeah.
intimidate based on that. Can you
Ooh,
give me
what?
a strength plus intimidation roll, please?
All right, so a 0,
Well,
a
you got
3
some
plus
dots in strength.
no, sorry. 3 for strength, 0 intimidation. So, although I am beautiful, so would I get as well? So
beautiful
would I get
girl?
another dice there for that?
Not really helping here. You, if you want to, you could spend a point of willpower to
Willpower.
because you're rolling a total of 3 dice. You
Mhm.
could use willpower to re-roll 2 of those.
Yes.
Oh, that that gets you up to 2 successes. So he looks at you while you're towering over him.
Mm-hmm.
You keep your eyes on Peter. You keep involved in whatever he's planning, and I'll get you some information on David.
That sounds doable, she says as she slowly brings his chair back to a sitting position. But then from her, with a slight flick of her wrist from the same hand, a small knife appears in her hand. She just sort of taps it on the chair. I'll keep both eyes on him.
Very well. I think we all have business to attend to then.
Bonne nuit. Good night.
As you leave the apartment and leave a angered but also somewhat scared Holger Müller behind here, we're going to briefly jump to our break for today, and we'll see you after that for the second half of the second episode of Three-City Revamp. See you in a little bit. Welcome back to the second half of our second episode of Three-City Revamp here on Euphoria. In our first half, the coterie has retrieved a prince, brought him back to a harpy, and some discontent is brewing. Someone expected the coterie to do something different with a prince in such a vulnerable state, but things are developing differently now. Where they are currently developing a little bit differently, specifically at Peter's Haven. Peter, or Peter, could you describe what your haven looks like?
A townhouse, if you will.
Yes.
So in a row of houses, they all look almost the same.
Maybe something
But
historic happened there, though. So there's the plaque, and then there's a reason you get money from the government to help keep it much
yes,
nicer.
thank you. Yeah, it is a historical landmark. This row of townhomes.
Perfect.
From
Denkmalgeschützt. This is what we call it in Germany.
yeah, genau.
Protected. What's a Denkmal again?
Piece of
A historical building, like
Yeah.
a historically protected
Uh,
building.
Monument?
Monument.
monument. Thank you,
Monument.
perfect.
Yes.
Um, But because they look all the same, it's rather unobtrusive, and he's able to pull into the alley around back and park into a garage there, and l- escort the prince out the garage. There's no door into the building, unfortunately. It's like you have to walk across the alley and
Mhm.
into the back gate of the small garden and into the townhome. The interior is really modern and well decorated. And as soon as he comes home, he makes sure that Michel is there, his butler, and then goes ahead and lets down all of the rollos, the hard steel blinds. These might be extra hard.
Mhm.
Um, I don't know if there's like a vampire security service or something. Uh, but he wouldn't need one. He's rich. I've got three dots in money
Exactly.
and resources. Rich bitch. So these extra hard uh, blinds kind of roll down across the windows and the back door as well. Um, so that he can escort the prince upstairs and into the guest bedroom. There are like three rooms up there: his room, the guest bedroom, and the bathroom. And maybe that's where no, his studio and office is downstairs next to Delara's resting place.
Michel, your butler, he makes sure that all these rollos, these steel curtains, are all down properly. And once you and the prince are inside, he turns to you and asks, Herr Kuhn, Mr. Kuhn, is there anything else I could do right now?
Nein, Michel, I think we are good for the evening. You may return home.
Very well, Herr Kuhn. Good evening to you and your guest.
Michel is a tall, pale, very German looking man with a bushy, graying mustache. He appears to be probably mid to late 50s, although he has been with the family for several decades.
All right. And Michel does take his bag, his jacket, and leaves the haven. Caspar looks after him and then looks at you. I assume properly ghouled.
Of course, he was initially Delara's servant, and since then, I have had to take over responsibility for him.
Dilara is in a dire situation right now.
No, she is stable. She is she is healed, but just her physical form. Uh, I sorry, my prince. I fear this was a long time coming. She had been she had grown weary of life, and perhaps this is the holiday that she has been longing for.
Age is a burden for our kind. The fact that we are forced to stand still in time while time moves around us is one of maybe the hardest things about our state.
It is commendable how well you have dealt with the years and the march of time, Caspar.
What is it you find exactly commendable about my approach?
You have a steel grip on your surroundings. You know exactly what you want, and you aren't afraid to take it and to demand that others acquiesce to your desires. It's something I've always admired you for. at least from afar.
He leans slightly forward towards you. You call it a steel grip. I think it is indeed a strong grip I hold over the domain I rule. But you know what it is with strong grips? If you squeeze too tightly, there can still be things that escape out of your hand. And I think I have allowed some things to escape. Let this be a lesson for you, Peter Kuhn. It is good to have a strong grip, but it is also good to pay attention to what your hand is holding.
Wise words, my liege. When the evening comes tomorrow, we should make plans to visit Maastricht and survey what is left of your domain.
We, you say so surely?
I do not wish to step outside my bounds, sir, but I would not like to see you injured or kidnapped once more. There is no leadership left in the region. You heard yourself. David is gone, fled, or worse. Isidora was killed by hunters, no less. And you were betrayed by your... You were betrayed.
And I also know what you did, Peter. Do not take me for a fool. You knew I did not have any other options.
He looks a little... This like flash, this emotion flashes across Peter's face of like sort of brat vibes, like pouting a little bit. Then, Caspar, if you are so worried about whatever may have happened between us, and that it is one way, one-sided, we can amend that tonight. And I will pledge my allegiance to you and your princeship.
He leans back in his chair, smiling at you. You are a cunning one. You see an opportunity, and you're looking to make the most of it. You see a gap in the ruling order, and you're already thinking how to put yourself into that.
I see a king on a chessboard, alone, with no pawns to protect him. With a queen by his side, he would have more strength.
Are you seated, Peter?
I feel like we probably sat down in the living room. Peter's lit some candles, turned on some light background music. He always has some sort of like music happening. So yeah, maybe it's like a corner couch, and they're both on separate ends, but close enough that like their knees might graze against one another.
And they certainly do. And after the prince pondered your sentence, he gets up and stands right in front of you. Looks down at you as if he's really trying to take Peter Kuhn in. Really trying to gauge what your deal is. Really pondering this offer. And then he just gently puts two fingers on your lower jaw. Just gently, very gently turns your face, as if he also wants to see how you look from that angle. I like you. You are entertaining. You are daring. But I'm no fool. I will ponder this. And tomorrow, you will come with me to Maastricht. We will survey my domain. And after that, we'll see how we cement our partnership. Is there a room I can use for resting?
Up the stairs, second door on the right.
Pulls back his fingers. Smiles at you. And goes up the stairs. And the moment he walks up the stairs, your phone vibrates in your pocket.
Chang would have also sent a message sometime in between asking like, "Do you have evening plans?" Question mark. But Peter most likely would not have gotten that message before looking at this phone, actually.
Okay.
Yeah, so if now that the phone is ringing, what do you do, Peter?
I pull it out and look who's calling.
Emmanuel is calling, but you also see that you have a few messages from Chang.
Aida shakes his head and he hits that silence again. Not so he does that specifically so that Emmanuel won't know that he's ignoring it, like hanging up on it, but we'll assume that he just isn't there available to answer it.
Right.
And then we'll go and look at Chang's message.
Which is basically just saying if you have any evening plans, correct, Chang?
Yeah, it's like kind of knowing that they sometimes went to the same clubs in Cologne and knowing how we think about technology and not being tech savvy myself. It's mostly just says, "Do you have evening plans? Wanna hang?" Question mark.
Wanna hang?
WYD.
Yeah.
What are you doing? I think Peita's really conflicted seeing that his boyfriend, his human boyfriend, is calling, that he's striking up this dalliance with the Prince of Maastricht. I'm torn. I want to talk to Chong and like see get some like advice, but I also am a little worried about leaving the prince here alone. One, I don't know if he's gonna like go through my shit or go down and like drain Delara or whatever. But two, like he's kind of pledging allegiance to him, and there's this responsibility that is rising up that he's been trained over the last several decades um, to uphold. 60 decades, half a century to uphold. Um, so he says, "No, sorry, busy, but would you like to come to Maastricht tomorrow?"
How long does it usually take for Peter to answer messages? Is he more the "I answer right away," or is it normal for you to take more time?
Definitely not. He takes his time.
Okay, so it's not
I've got a point in technology so that I know how to use phones.
so getting the message back asking to go to Maastricht. Chang looks around being still with Gitya and Josette. Probably already leave it. We already left Holger's, I presume.
Mhm.
And look around. He- They're going to Maastricht tomorrow together.
Field trip, says Roget. No?
All right. I answer back. Maybe. Can we all go?
Gisette is leaning over Chung's shoulder and going, "Don't ask a question. Say we will be there." Trying to delete
But
them.
they didn't invite us yet.
And
Also, I am
we
very slow at typing.
okay, we saved Prince Caspar's life. I think we can get a little tiny tour.
We'll need.
I delete the words that I have
Okay.
yet not sent.
Okay.
Try to type in again, and I feel like Josette has also points in technology, right?
I ended up not
Oh,
for
okay.
some reason. I mean,
Okay, never mind.
Grisha,
I am the
please.
oldest. I'm 99 years old. She's about to be 100. So
I am not that old. I'm just not tech savvy.
Hey, 10 years
Well,
isn't that big of a difference in
G-
yeah.
vampire.
Gritje has one dot in
Okay.
I feel
technology.
like Gretje might get um a bit impatient at some
Oh yeah,
point.
Also,
she's
Gretchen knows how
tapping
to.
she's tapping her foot
I would
and
take
rolling her
over.
eyes
Yeah, would
and
take over in like
She first
typing.
probably wipes the screen with a
Yeah.
cloth.
just goes like, "Geef dat hier, give it to me." And with the big keyboard, once she sees that, she also like, oh, just sighs, but then types and sends the message. And there should be a message of like that you are coming
Yeah.
with them tomorrow.
It just says probably when and where.
All right.
Mhm. Nice.
And I as I understand, Peter will not be joining us. So he because I asked, "Do you have plans? Do you want to meet?" And he did not react to it. Instead, asking if we would join, I decide to let the others in on um what I have found, and especially to Josette, I show the the sketch I made and the picture on the phone. I just give that to Grietje, so Josette can see the sketch, and I let them know that we might have an in with Jasira, since this seems to be the handwriting of a Tremere, and Jasira also might have some information about um Prince Caspar's coterie.
Bien, bien, bien. Well. Good job, Chung. This looks. You know, we have nothing to do for weeks, and suddenly we have to split up, possibly. We have a lot to do.
If we do split up, I have to go to Jasira. I don't. I mean, I barely want to open the door for other people, but she's worse.
Mm.
Are
What?
you planning, Grietje interjects, are you planning to go to see Jazeera tonight?
I look around.
What time is it? Ish.
Good question.
Yeah.
It's at this point like I'd say 11 in the evening.
Oh,
So you still
plenty
have
of time.
quite some hours in the night. It's also it's fall. You have a bit
Yeah.
more of
That's right.
nighttime.
Let's go.
It's not like I will be staying here in Aachen. Absolutely not.
We might need something to negotiate with. Jasira
Information?
doesn't like to meddle with others. Um, honestly, I get it. I have to for my personal research, but she likes to stay out of other political things. And yeah, knowledge would be great. You got anything she does not have? That would be our way in. I mean, I have this, and I show the sketch again that I made of the basement and the intricate blood stain. But I don't know. I'm not sure if we want to share this right away. We could, possibly, but she is a Tremere.
Grietje says to that, I think that's where you're hitting the nail on the head. She is a Tremere, just like you. You have some drawings there that look like they are your field of expertise. I'm not going to spend the rest of my evening talking to Yasira in her little bookshop.
You know, books can be very expensive.
What I'm saying, do I have to give you a ride to Maastricht or not?
I mean, you can also stay here, maybe see if you can find some more information on whatever Holger's up to, or find out what Peter is doing. I have a
Yeah.
car.
That is
I'm not the
actually
best driver, but I have a car.
that is actually not a bad point. Do you
Yeah.
happen to give me directions to Petershaven?
Chang looks at Grietje for a moment, knowing fully well that Grietje handles art, handles expensive artifacts. Can I get my hands on one of your books? I'm not gonna keep it. Just need a copy. Just look through it. Preferably in the theological sphere.
I can take a look at my collection for you and see what I can find, but they have to be treated carefully.
I have gloves.
It's not what I meant. What I'm saying is, I can see if I can find anything that's relevant, and you can take a look at that once I've found it.
Okay. And I immediately give away Peter's address.
I'll see if I can visit Peter over there then. Perhaps maybe a lot has been happening tonight. Maybe we should all treat ourselves for a little bit of a quiet evening for the rest of the evening.
Well, I was thinking Josette and I actually go and find Josira. Since we're going to Maastricht, I don't know if we're gonna have time to come back, depending on
Me,
what
I
happens
was
there.
yes, I was thinking the same thing.
Chang would first off ask Josette if do you want to take your car or mine?
What kind of car do you have?
Well, it's second-hand Audi.
Ooh, and now no, we'll take mine.
Okay. Um, can we drop by my place before we go?
Mm-hmm. Of course.
And
Right.
as we do, I pack like my leftover last bag,
Mm-hmm.
just in case that I need it for more blood sorcery or in case I actually need to consume it,
Mm-hmm.
and would then make my way to Jazeera with Josette, I would presume, unless you want to go somewhere else first.
No, her hunger is fine for now. So
All right.
also 11 p.m. is not the perfect time to hunt for her. So she's more of a early riser eater.
Early bird.
Yeah.
All right. So Josette and Chang in the Kangoo with some blood bags in a backpack once again drive out of Aachen in a western direction, crossing back into the Netherlands. A very brief bit across some country roads, basically, before you can take an exit to a highway connection that leads from Germany, from Aachen, Germany, to Maastricht. The transition from German highway to Dutch highway is very clear. There is, of course, the somewhat more imposed speed limit, and however, also a difference in the quality of the asphalt, where it is pretty clear that it's easier to keep your highways up to speed when you're a tiny, tiny country in comparison to a large country like Germany, which has just a lot more streets to keep maintained. You drive through the dark and eventually come to the city of Maastricht. Entering from the eastern side of this city that, just like Liège, is split by the river the Meuse, the Maas River, in two halves. The eastern and western sides of the city have, over the centuries, slowly grown together in ever-expanding circles on both sides of the river. On this time of night, as you drive your car past the market at the heart of the city, with a interesting statue of a bronze statue of a man holding a torch. Long ago, that torch was actually really lit. There was an actual gas connection to the statue that kept the torch ever burning. But due to some environmental and safety concerns, that has been disabled a while ago already. But still, there's the statue of a certain Mr. Minkelers, a mortal who brought a lot of industry to the city. Now, surrounding this statue on the market are mostly cafes, restaurants, and a lot of older buildings. And somewhere tucked away in one of these side alleys leading away from the market, just past an Irish pub, where as you walk by, there's a bunch of students coming out of the pub as they're complaining about how the pub quiz questions were once again total bullshit, and that's why they couldn't win. You stand in front of a very regular little house, just a small white door with not even a name on the doorbell. But both of you know that tucked away behind this unseeming facade resides the remaining Tremere in the city of Maastricht. And you ring the bell, I assume. It's just this classic sound as you ring the bell. Hear some footsteps. And opening the door is a woman with a darker skin, dark brown eyes, and she's wearing a beautifully colorful hijab all around her head. She has a bit of a stressed expression as she opens the door. But Chang, you would have met Yasira at some occasion a long time ago. Tremere like to stick together, but it has been a while. And at first, she's about to ask you what you're doing here, but then Yasira also recognizes you and goes, Chang,
Desira,
clan business?
more than that.
She looks over as Josette. Who's that?
That, Josette.
She's part of the coterie. Enjoyer of books and knowledge. She brings books.
Josette actually has one in her bag for Yasira, because she doesn't know what, or I guess she would know what a Tremere would want, but given that she's Chong's friend, she.
Is it one of your collection of banned books that you?
No, never.
No.
She would not. It's probably just it's Ted Chiang's Story of Your Life and Other Stories.
Oh,
and
excellent book, by the way. You show her that book, and she actually smiles. Come inside. She gestures both of you in, and as you step in and she closes the door again, there's a bit of a strange sensation going over both of you. It almost feels, once the door closes, that for a moment the air is sucked out of the room, and you get a bit of a vertigo feeling, as if you're staring into some strangely shaped space. But that only lasts for like a second, and you look around, and the room you stepped into, it doesn't make sense. You look up towards the ceiling, and the ceiling is way higher than it should be from what the place looks like from the outside.
It's
You
big on the
look
inside.
you look down a hallway, and the hallway goes on for a few meters, and there's other doors connected to it. Space-wise, it is fitting more space into this room than what should be possible. And Chang, as a Tremere, you know that there are Chantries who have some of these enchantments put on them um, to make spaces larger. And the Tremere are very protective about the secrets of these kinds of enchantments. And Yasira takes it in casually, and she doesn't even point it out in any way. And once you're in, she says, "What do you got for me?"
I don't know if you heard, as you are very focused on your own research, but there has been change.
Kaspar Hoya has disappeared.
He reappeared.
As
Yes.
you say that, Chang, could both you and Josette, could both of you give me a wits plus awareness roll, please?
Okay.
Checking if any of you notice something in her response.
I
5
have a
successes.
lot of wits.
Wow.
I put everything in there.
You truly keep your wits about you. Three successes for Josette. Both of you, the moment that Chang says he reappeared, just for the shortest moment, Yasira's pupils widen. And there's like this very subtle shock reaction. But she goes, "Did he now? That is great news for the domain."
We don't know that yet. That is
She's
actually
so
why I'm
full of
here.
shit.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we got it.
Which is, I was like, we don't know that yet, which is why we are here.
I am not sure what help I can assist in these political matters. I have been keeping myself from these for quite some time.
I
There are
know.
other duties that await around here, and some of our clan take this work seriously, Chang.
I'm aware. I, I usually like to stay out of it as well. But what we need to do our business in peace is a stable ecosystem, which doesn't work too well if all three princes are in jeopardy.
I agree. What aid do you need of me then?
The prince assumes he got betrayed by his coterie. In order to figure out where we stand on this, we need to know if A, this is true, and B, who potentially did the do.
I wouldn't be surprised if there's some former members of his coterie who were vying for his throne. There might also be whatever kind of games Hannes and his gang are playing at.
It's funny that you bring up Hannes, Josette says.
Well, he has been making quite a few visits to Maastricht ever since the prince disappeared. I'm
Visits here also?
Well, he comes
How do you
knocking on my
know?
door.
How do you know that?
He comes knocking on my door. I'm one of the
Why?
few remaining here.
Yes, obviously, but why would you open the door?
Well, I leave him outside, not letting him in here.
Yes, I wouldn't either.
But since these disappearances of the princes, and I'm still very sorry also to what happened to Princess Adora in Aachen, I respected her very much. Since this destabilization, Hannes and his pack, they've been seeing where they can find some new hunting grounds, so to speak. And with Caspar no longer here in Maastricht to keep everything on lockdown, well, not really anyone to enforce much of the traditions here.
Would Chong's character know how Ysira feeds?
How Yasira feeds? How she?
Yeah. Oh, she.
I don't think so. No.
Okay. All right.
We keep a very professional, everyone does their own thing kind of
That's fair.
relationship.
Yeah.
That's
We
fair.
respect that we each do not care about each other.
Okay. No.
Yeah.
Totally love that. Yeah. I just Josette would like to push further and see. I guess with investigation maybe. If Ysira is full of it, given that the tiny
Yeah.
eye blip, and then also bringing up Hannes, and
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if that's a way I can pursue with questioning, but
I think both of
Or-
you have been pushing a little bit with the way that you're asking information here. I would say even without a role, considering also with the wits and awareness role that you had earlier, there's reason for both of you to believe that Yasira is not giving you full information here.
Mm,
Then again, also you are also not asking questions that would be prodding enough,
Mhm.
which is also, of course, very correct and polite of both of you. You are kind of in her space right now, and as Kindred, you have some respect for hospitality and the likes, but both of you know something smells fishy here.
Mhm.
let's stop beating around the bush. If you may give me some space, we can exchange what we know. And I wave my notebook, knowing very well not to touch any of her actual research. That is taboo.
Exactly. What is it you actually have on offer here in your notebook?
Proof
To
of what you've done.
yeah, to reiterate, he did not reappear. We found him.
And I assume that there's something in your notebook that you also found there.
Yes.
If you show me what's in there, I'll show you what I have.
Can I see how sincere that offer is?
Especially with your 5 successes that you had a little bit earlier, you get the idea that, especially since a tremor who would be very willing to learn new things, get new information, this is an honest offer.
All right. I asked again to have a bit of space, so that she puts away some of her stuff, and I can like put down my notebook. And the first page that I show her is a recollection of what happened with the specters, the ghosts.
Mm-hmm.
I tell her about how we went to this little village, and that we encountered two, not one, but two ghosts, and that I even had a conversation with one. And you can tell that I'm a bit excited about that revelation, and Jasira probably knows that this is kind of um my space of research and the occult and the supernatural, but also in connection with the theology that is. And I have to like remind myself why I'm here and stop talking about the ghosts. It's like next up, as the prince left the basement, I went back in and looked at the traces, see what else I can find out of this room, and I open the page with the sketch. We both
Yasira,
know we both know what handwriting this is. It's our own. It's Tremere.
and Yasira looks at it. She's been patiently and honestly interested listening to your entire monologue about the ghostly appearances. This has been a conversation between two absolute nerds on a topic who are professionals in the same topic, both excited to talk about this. But the moment you show this arcane sigil, Yasira looks over to her own stack of notes and she pulls out like this old looking scroll.
I get
She
excited just by the thought of her pulling that out,
there's even
knowing I get to see it.
the moment she pulls this out, there's even this delightful scent of old papyrus coming off of it. Like this is a legit old document. She unfurls it and you see the exact same sigil on there that you found. Meanwhile, Josette, what are you doing in the meantime there while these two experts have their conversation?
Uh, Slowly investigating the room, which I believe is the salon. Was it like a living room with bookshelves?
It's kind of if you would mash a salon, living room, and library into one
Correct.
space. This has seating and tables, but also bookshelves, books on almost every surface, and probably to your eye, a lot of it looks a bit chaotic, but there is probably some kind of system in all of
Mhm.
this.
Yeah, she's looking for something that seems out of place. Having investigated the homes of many potential and often sometimes actual Nazis. She's the clues are there in the things that they own, environmental storytelling, and so she's looking to see uh, to confirm her thoughts and Chong's on that Ysira might have had something to do with Prince Caspar's kidnapping.
And as you look around in this place filled with books, you look around, some of them are open and some of them are written in languages you don't understand. There's probably some
Very
Latin
cool.
in here or something. But as you look around, you see there's one open book, and at one point, you feel there's a bit of this shiver going down your neck, and your eyes are drawn to a line in the book. All the text around it is written in a language you don't understand. It even has an alphabet you can't make sense of. But that line in there, you can clearly read. And it says, "The churches connect the lines." And a little bit under that, it just says, "She lies, she 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 lies." And on the right page, on the page next to that, there's just a single, "She does what needs to be done."
Oh my goodness.
When I was retelling what was happening, I kept out that the situation between Peter and Caspar.
Mm-hmm.
So it really was just I was
Yeah.
in there, I saw ghosts, speaking a lot about ghosts, more story about ghosts, then I found this.
And you also see, like, we're cutting back from where Josette saw these highlighted words in a language she doesn't even understand. We shift back over to where Chang and Yasira are. And you look at this open parchment scroll right next to your drawing. It's almost the exact same sigil that you see in there. And Yasira looks at you and says, "We need to do some investigation. We need to hit the books."
Mm, I was hoping you would say that.
And as you say that, we leave the Chantry and go back eastward about 30 kilometers back to Aachen in Peter's haven. Peter, Kritia has rang your doorbell and is standing on your doorstep.
Aida was probably in the basement in a studio working on a new piece. He is specialized in piano performance. So he starts on the piano, and it's piped into the studio, the doorbell. And so he hears it first down there. He's changed into his home wear, some of those sweat slacks, and a nice, like, white linen hoodie. So, like, very thin, but still comfy, and sort of stands up from the piano, slides into his house shoes, and walks up the stairs and first peeks through the peephole, and opens the door.
Are you going to let me in?
What are you doing here?
And you see her like just looking into the hallway, checking if you're alone there. And she says, He he's here, right?"
Peter nods without saying anything.
Chang said, "You're going to go with him to Maastricht tomorrow?"
Peter holds for a moment, reaches into there's a small table next to the door. He opens a drawer and there's a pack of cigarettes in there. He's gonna pull those out, step outside, maybe grabbing like a small like a soft rain jacket from the hook next to the door, and steps outside and shuts it. He knows that the guest bedroom is in the back of the house,
Yeah.
so that at least this way he's doing this for protection from the
Perfect.
prince's ears. Yes, and like lights a cigarette, inhales to light it, and then pretends to sort of smoke standing there. Yes, we're going to Maastricht. I told Chung. I'm assuming she mentioned it to you.
Oh, yes, she absolutely did. Just wanted to briefly check in before I drive back home myself. What's your plan?
Our plan is to secure your domain, creature. Yes, creature, we're going to secure your domain.
Interesting. Glad you're so interested in helping me out with that. You're gonna keep an eye on Emmy, all right?
Of course. I'm sure as soon as he is back into on his throne that you will get the money you are owed.
You do remember that. Perfect. Heel goed. Very good.
You are a member of his court, or?
I have had permissions to hunt in Maastricht. I was involved in that regard. But sometimes things must change a little.
You don't think his children had anything to do with this, do you?
I'm not sure. All I know for now is that you have the only remaining prince of this entire region in your haven, and you're keeping him very close. That can be either very good for all of us or just very good for you. And I can't wait to find out which one it is.
Then you shall have to wait and see what will become of our dear Prince Caspar.
Send me a message when you head to Maastricht tomorrow.
Of course.
Wouldn't mind to tag along.
Everyone will be invited. I mean, I'll try and get Josette to drive us. She makes a good chauffeur.
Grietje just smirks. She has talents. Good evening, Peter. And Grietje wanders off, steps into her car, and you see her drive off as we see the camera panning slowly upwards from Peter taking a few more drags from his cigarette. Knowing that the next destination for a coterie is the city of Maastricht, some to survey the domain of a prince, and others who are already there to hit the books and maybe literally read between the lines. What awaits our coterie in this city by the river? We'll find out in our next episode of Three-City Revamp. All right. Woo! Thanks, everybody, for taking this even a few steps further than the last session. I can already see the tensions rising, the plotting happening, and I am very excited to see where this goes. Thank you for also watching this second episode of Three-City Revamp. We will be back next week for the third installment of this, and then you will see this crew back again at it. Who are these fantastic people? Well, let's give them all the chance to tell us who they are and also share us where you can find them. Let's start with Jen.
Hello, thank you again for having me. You can find me online at the Genya on most social media networks, and you can find more of my TTRPGs, comics I've made, and video games I've worked on at hauntedvaultstudios.com. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Toto.
Hi, I am Toto, she, they pronouns. You can find me almost anywhere under Totoroki, be it Blue Sky, Instagram. I also have a card that probably will be linked. And if you click on there, you can see some of my works in the TTRPG scene. And I am also an organizer of the Pin Convention that is a pop-up shop and an online shop that is geared towards enamel pin artist, and the pop-up shop will open in December, and you can find us on Instagram. So if you enjoy pins and the arts, check it out.
Fantastic. Krifu.
Hi, I'm Krifu. You can find me on all socials at Krifu Bernal. I am the GM, editor, producer for the Tumble Through podcast.
Double through.
Tumble Through episodes release every Tuesdays. You can find us on all socials there and in my Linktree link down below. And yeah, thank you for letting me live out my Toreador nightmares.
Please, those are dreams.
And I have been and still am Markus, pronouns are he, him. You can find me on all the socials as the Chindividual. You can also find me on YouTube where I make TTRPG videos, mostly focused on Pathfinder right now, but who knows? Maybe I mix it up with some vampire videos. Keep an eye on those. You have also been watching this on Euphoria. Check out Euphoria on all the socials, which are linked below, to keep up to date on when new episodes of this show come up, but also of any other great projects that you can find on Euphoria, where diverse talent from the EU and UK is uplifted in the TTRPG space. Once again, thank you for watching. Take care, stay safe, and see you soon. Bye.